Summer has arrived this week and I'm really actually unprepared in the pajama department. I have flannel pajamas for the winter, but I have nothing for the summer. So I want to make a little cute matching cotton pajama set, like a shirt and shorts or something. And the inspiration is this Damson Matter pajama set. I think it's so cute with the little frills, the stripes, always a classic. One of you guys actually suggested pajamas inspired by Damson Matter a while ago, so you can thank that comment because that stuck with me and that's what we're doing today. You may have seen last week's video, my really bad thrifting experience, but the one good thing that came out of it was this fabric. And this is what I'm going to use today. It was actually just a duvet cover, and I did actually find tiny little stains in one little spot, but nothing serious, nothing disgusting, don't worry. But it's, yeah, a navy blue. It looks navy blue, green, pink stripe, 100% cotton, and I think as a little set, could be cute. For the frills, I wanted to add the frills from the inspiration photo. I think that's what makes it really cutesy and whimsical. I bought this 100% navy cotton. Oop, that's the receipt. And I just got this at the local fabric market. A little expensive. It was €8, but I needed it. For the patterns, I actually chose 2 free patterns so it could be the most affordable as possible so you can also recreate it. For the top, I'm actually using it from a set, the Variegata short set from Mood Fabrics. The shorts were my favorite, so we're just taking the top from that. And for shorts, I'm going to use a pattern called Paper Bag Shorts from Tiana's Closet. I'm doing an XL in the shorts and a size M in the top. A note about the paper bag shorts that I strongly advise that you do is when you are printing off the pattern has sizes in different layers of the PDF. So choose your size and print only your size. I didn't read the instructions and I just printed the PDF and I got all the sizes on the pattern pieces and it's not labeled. So I needed to highlight the lines that I needed to cut and it took me forever to figure it out because it also has the seam allowance line with the sewing line and there's like so many lines. So don't make the same mistake that I did. I was about to cut the front piece out and then I remembered I actually have to make a very minor alteration to the front. This pattern, of course, accommodates for a button placket, and I don't want to do the buttons. I want to do the bows. So I found a center front, drew a line, and I decided to add a 3/8 seam allowance to the center front rather than a 1/2 inch. But once I fold it over at that new seam allowance, when I tie the shirt together, center front will meet in the middle and there will be no overlap like the button placket. Of course, if we are adjusting the center front on the outside piece, there is a facing and I need to now adjust the facing as well so it lines up when I sew it all together. I have cut all my pieces for the top and for the shorts, but I'm gonna leave it here for today and go enjoy the sun, and tomorrow we will sew it all up. I'm excited. But before I go, I wanted to show you, remember the sweater I thrifted last week and I said I would shorten? So this is the final result. I just cut off the waistband and moved it up. Super easy. Now it's way better of a silhouette than before. It's the next day and now I'm ready to actually sew everything together. I'm going to just start probably with the pockets and attach them to the front short. Which piece is it? This one. I do have a little something I might want to add to the hem, but I'll show you when I get there. First, let's just put the pockets on, the easy things. My shorts are pretty much together. They're looking very wide, but they're supposed to be the like paper bag look. And I'm doing the waistband, but I wanted to show you what I was doing. It's only one seam on the whole thing, so I decided to put the seam at the very front. It also worked very well that the seam is literally like beside the blue stripe, so it blends right in. But when I was sewing, I decided to leave a tiny little hole here there's going to be an elastic, but I want to add a drawstring more for like aesthetic purposes. So I just left a tiny little hole to feed in after the elastic. I was just pinning the waistband to make sure it fit, and turns out it doesn't fit. I think I cut the wrong sized waistband because I'm like 1.5 inches too short. I do have enough fabric, it's just a bit annoying. So let's try this again with the waistband. You know what? It looks like it does. My light source has officially broken, so it's just gonna be a little darker for now. But this is the waistband. It's finally done, and I actually chose to do a gross grain ribbon instead of a shiny one. I just like how it's more casual looking. And I did the hem as well, just a 1-inch hem. But this is the thing I wanted to add. I thrifted this like squiggly trim so long ago, and I thought it could be a cute little addition to the shorts. Same with the whole like Dams and Matter vibe, is very like cutesy and whimsical, and I think it goes. But I was thinking to possibly add it to the hem of the short, maybe on top of the stitch already. I'm thinking to also add it to the shirt so it like really goes all together. If I have enough. Actually, that's something I should check. Okay, I only have this much, which could go around the hem of the shirt or only around the sleeves, but not both. The shorts are done, so now we're moving on to the top. I finished the sleeves and the pocket. Now I randomly just cut out the pocket. I wasn't aiming to line up the stripes, but as I placed it, it was only 1/4 inch off of matching, so I just made it match rather than being a little bit off because it was so close, and it's seamless now. Next is the collar. Now I'm supposed to fuse the collar, but because it's like a pajama, it's something casual, I'm not going to fuse it. I'm going to leave it as is. But I measured around the collar, which is 24 inches for the ruffle situation. I decided to do double the length, so it's 48 inches to go around the short side and the long side of the collar. And it was 3 inches wide, so I just folded it in half. I sewed both ends closed, pressed it, because the photo had like a nice sharp edge on the ruffle, so I also wanted the same. Like, this is kind of the height of the ruffle. Of course, it'll be gathered, but that looks like the photos. Like, it's not so big, but a little detail. This is what it's looking like. It's not pressed yet. Cute. Now that the collar's done, I need to figure out the ruffle for, like, the lapel section. But because I don't actually have a notch on the front where the collar comes down to, I'm going to just attach the front panel to the back panel and kind of roughly put the collar on with pins or something just to see where it ends so I can start the next ruffle. I made a mistake, so don't do what I did. And the mistake was cutting down the front placket. Like, obviously I did because I wanted to not have it overlap, but cutting it down affected the notch collar. So, like, there's not really a notch there. This is such a me problem. I cut, like, this much off and see how it comes there. Like, the notch is literally this big. I have two options. Either I keep going this route and I just add one little short ruffle from bust point to here and it doesn't really have the extra notch, or we can embrace the, like, little collar and I add a bow at the top here. I decided I'm going to do the collar like this and do a bow at the neck because it looks weird if I do a tiny little ruffle here. So it's not quite like the Dams and Matter pajamas, but similar vibes. I sewed the other front panel on and I actually marked where I want the ties. I'm going to put the straps on, put the facing on, and then I'll come back to you when that's done. I do want to shorten it. I'm just not sure how much. I want to see what the straps and ties look like, and then we'll cut it. So I don't know if it's me having a brain fart and not being able to follow the instructions, or if the instructions aren't so clear. But I was doing the facing. It only comes with this front facing piece, and it says to attach it to the front panel, up the center front, and then up to the neck, and then it gets put in the shoulder seam. But it says to do that before you attach it to the back, which doesn't make sense to me because then you're folding away some of the seam allowance on the front but not the back, and it's not fitting. And because it didn't make sense to me, I decided to just add a back facing. So I added this little piece here, and I just sandwiched everything in between the collar and all the ties. For me, that's just the easiest way. I don't know if you've made this before, or if you want to make it, maybe you understand better than me, but it didn't make sense for me anyways. I didn't press the facing yet. I wanted to actually chop the shirt and shorten it before I press it because I have to do the whole understitch of the facing. Okay, how much is that? 4.5, but we need an inch seam allowance, so we'll take off 3.5 inches everywhere. The top is, okay, pretty much done. I added the sleeves, and I actually shortened the sleeves by 1.5 inches. I just thought it was too long, so I shortened it. I realized I'm changing so many things about this pattern, but that's okay. I mean, I'm tailoring it to my own liking because it's for me. So this is what it is looking like. The facing is done, the hems are done. It's pretty much good to go. The only thing I need to do now is to figure out where the squiggles should go, if I have enough for the bottom or if I should just do the sleeves. The sun is beaming right inside and it's quite bright. But I tried on the set together, and I decided to put the little ruffle on the sleeve just because it doesn't like ruin the eyeline of the top going into the short, especially with all the stripes. So I think it'll be more balanced on the sleeves. But this is the last step, so I'm gonna pop this on and then I'll show you the final result of my new summer pajamas. I'm excited. The final pajama, I love it. It's very oversized and like big and breezy, but I mean, perfect for summer. A lot of bows, but this is the 360. And I love the squiggles on the sleeve matching the shorts. I'm glad I didn't put it on the hem, otherwise that would have been like too much happening here. I can't wait to wear it all the time. Super happy with the result, but if you're gonna make it yourself, let me know. I linked all the patterns down below and they are free. We love a free pattern.